Hello, my name is Carlson Go, and this is section 3 of my MC 504 career counseling individual assignment, the section 3 intake intake vocational analysis, data analysis, as well as recommendation. And today we'll be looking at Carlson Go, interesting client, a lot of things to say about him, personalities, histories, what have you. So let's get right into it. Click. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the vocational and social intake and the history. So it seems that the way he was brought up has shaped how he sees work itself. For example, in the first and second questions, he speaks about how he sees work as a pathway that satisfies multiple axioms of his life, like competency, passion, as well as survival. This is interesting because apparently this runs counter to what he believes in terms of what his father and his elder sister has told him. And they could have shaped his perspective of work being monotonous and menial. Instead, his values may actually have served as a buffer for this perception, as one of his core tenets of self-love in the fourth question, where he believes that his overall well-being sort of takes precedence over just working to survive. And his personal values also shapes how he wishes to conduct himself in the environment of work, which is similar to being kind, optimistic, and compassionate, and he believes that in work it shouldn't be any different. So he believes in his values, the personal values, sort of putting that into work as well. So that's the fourth question onwards. Now, from the fifth to the sixth up to the seventh questions. Okay, let's talk about fifth and sixth first. The trajectory he has embarked upon in terms of his passion and his vocation stem from the fact that he has very recently been inundated with subjects of emotion and trauma in the past, which informs him that this is where his forte lies, specifically in mental health. As you can see, having been in therapy for some time, number six, and he has had the concept of therapy and mental health has always jived well with him, and he has taken an interest in the subject, as evident by the fact that he's come back from Singapore after a short stint in recruitment to do his master's in counseling here. And that sort of stint in Singapore sort of branded it into him as to what he wanted to do, because it had nothing to do with what he studied. He studied psychology, and he was in Singapore for recruitment. And although he understands that he wishes to work in the realm of mental health. And that's up to from question 7 to 10. It's very much it talks a lot about how he sees work, how he believes, how he is, not like question 9, how he feels first and thinks second, and being sort of marrying every aspect of his mental and emotional facets. And also his number 10, he talks a little bit about the complexities behind taking up a career and how a little more difficult that may be for him because of how he sees work as a multi-tier, multi-dimensional consideration. And so that could be a factor to consider when we think about him and what he wants to work as. Now, looking at the genogram, it's pretty obvious, just to zoom in a little bit. His father, his elder sister, and his therapist has very much influenced him in terms of how he sees work. His father and elder sister, having had a strained relationship with him in the past, sort of talked about how he views work as something that's monotonous, as meaning something that no one wants to ever do, but they have to do. And his therapist of about 3 to 4 years, sort of imbibing a sense of wonder, just like, oh, I could do this. I could do this mental health. I could do counseling and therapy. It's something that I have benefited greatly from, and now I would like to immerse myself in as well. So that's for the genogram. Moving on to the personalities and the Cash 2 and the LPI. For the Cash 2 results, it's pretty obvious that a very artistic persona with a 31 in the artistic score. He likes liberty over structure, where he is given the freedom to express himself. Next to that is sociability, which is a 30 in the score, where he interacts well with people, he enjoys talking to people, and he is good at doing that, which is talking to people. And the last one, which is investigative, it's actually a little bit lower from the 30 and 30, 31st and 30. It's actually a 21, although it is salient enough that it's included. So he turns out that he also enjoys thinking deeply about things. He just really delves into a subject when he puts his mind to it. So yeah, artistic, social, and investigative is what this client shows. Now, the LPI talks a lot about how the relational peacock is one of his highest scores, which all of the three birds are very much coherent with what the cash 2 has also talked about, where very much a relational peacock is a 21, very much a dreamer and a social troubadour in terms of how he acts with people, the spontaneity and the impossible dreams that he ropes people in with. That seems to be one. The neutral dove is not far behind with a 19. He seems to really enjoy also flourishing in the social environment, where being and interacting with people seems to help him flourish rather than him being alone. An opener swan with an 18 is there's something to be said about novelty, and he seems to love creative solutions in terms of like interacting with people, group assignments, individual assignments, groups, personal projects. They creativity innovation seems to be a one of his vocations. And yeah, that completely matches with his personality being um, artistic, social, and investigative, and his LPI being relational, peacock, neutral, dove, and openness. Now, to go back to the recommendations, it would be in summary, Carlson is someone who is artistic, sociable, and investigative, works well with people, thinks deeply about things, and has connections and innovation in his head. So my recommendation to him is to just continue moving in this path that he has chosen for himself. Looking into organizations, looking into mental health, applying what he's learned to the people around him and with himself. And because for him, that is what's important in terms of experience. He takes experiences very seriously, and that's what he covets, the entire experience. So the more he lives, the more he feels, the more he experiences, the more insight that he will gain. And over and most of all, just enjoy the experience because that's what's important to him. Thank you very much for listening. Stop sharing. But there we go.